So a couple of problems that you end up with this design is that this frickin' thing right here, this is where the bumper foam, is on top of this. So what I've done here is that I ended up cutting a piece of it because this piece in the bottom is the one that's preventing the whole bumper cover here from actually pushing inward. So this thing gets in the way, so I have to go ahead and you know, cut this thing down. And then of course I'm also cutting it from the bottom. As you'll see here, I've started with a big trim, and there's more over there. So, right, it's taking a while to do this, but I actually got it done. And I got it done with this tool here, which is kind of cool. You hook it up to your drill, and there's this thing right here. You can get these at Home Depot. I'm not at Home Depot. I'm AutoZone. Or one of these things, right? So this actually works. I've used two of them, and this is the third one to get that thing done. This one cracked. So when this happens, it's best to replace it. You don't want to get injured doing this thing. You know, pieces can fly and hit your throat or hit your skin and cut you really bad. So, you know, be safe and just get a new one. You know, and take your time on this. This is what happened to one of them. It actually melted or started drooping, and it started cracking because I overheated. I didn't realize that these things were, you know, they can take the RPMs, but man, if you overdo them, they do crack, and they can do this in no time. But this one actually lasted me a while until I saw a little crack, and I'm like, oh darn it. And that's because it was wedged in between those, you know, the cutting. But so far, it's coming along, and once I get this piece, then my bumper will fit. I've measured it, and you know, that tiny piece, whatever, I think it's an inch. It's just an inch that is keeping the bumper cover from pushing inside. So so it doesn't go all the way in. So that's the problem. I finally finished cutting that piece off, and here's the piece. So you can see this part was right here, and I had to remove it so the front bumper can slide right through, because this thing was just getting in the way. So it's finally done. It took a while. Somebody cut this part. As you can see, for most of you, let's see how this thing is put together. So you got this piece that was welded here. If you're looking at this in this angle, you'll notice that it's too dark, so let me go to the other side. Okay, it's much better here. It's more light. So these two parts are welded together like that, and you would have to kind of cut through and until you remove it. But that's what you have to do for this specific bumper. This is pretty much the foam that goes on top of it like that. So once you, let's see if I can put this. So once you cut that, that's how it would go. And of course, because you did cut a small portion, you'll notice that, well, let's go on the other side. You'll notice that some of it is sticking out, see? So a couple of things that had to be modified on the car itself so the body kit can fit is this part right here. Cut this portion off so the body kit can fit through without having this thing disturbing it. So where does this interfere with the body kit, or should I say with the front kit? That would be this portion right here. This lower part I thought that it was interfering, but it's actually this part, and I kept cutting and cutting until I realized, wait a minute, I don't think that is. Why don't I just cut that part instead? So I ended up cutting too much. And as you can see, it doesn't give you that really cool look on the front anymore. So to fix this, you would have to refiberglass this area. Same thing with this side. I pretty much did the same thing, but this area was interfering, so I'm going to leave that one alone. There's the light, and down here, this is where, as you can see, there is the places that I cut. Now this stuff was sticking out all the way over here. I don't have the part anymore, but if you have a 2003 Altima, you'll know that this part is sticking out more. And if you get this type of body kit and you try to install it on your 2003 Altima, you'll run into these issues. Of course, there's this issue that I'd explained before. And as you can see, I had to cut even more because this part, because it's squared, it was squared until I trimmed it off to be a little bit more of an angle shape. I don't know if you can see it from here, but you notice that there's nothing that's interfering, and this part was actually interfering right here. As you can see, these were the marks that it was receiving, because every time I kept pushing the kit inward, this part, it kept rubbing right here. The same goes to this side. See those markings? So what I ended up doing is cutting both sides right here. See, that part is also cut. And it doesn't do anything, or you're not damaging this this bumper support bar. And of course you can actually buy the support bar if you're ever going to sell your car again. It's no big deal. You just have to unbolt this, and I think this comes in one giant piece. I'm not really sure. Oh, here's a bolt down here. Just enough. So, I mean, if you're going to get into a fender bender with somebody, this is the last thing you'll be worried about anyhow.